Welcome back to another episode of AdTastic from the Daily Ad Brief platform. My name is Tony Stanel. I'm your host. And today we're talking with David Fausel, the CEO and founder of We Ventures. Welcome, David.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
Of course. Now, I noticed that you have big agency experience in your background, and you're doing, past couple of years, you're doing other things slightly different. Talk about that journey, that trajectory, why you left the big agency scene.
Yeah, Tony, I think what really happened with me is that having spent a lot of time at a couple of pretty big agencies and getting to see a lot of the internal workings, but then also, most importantly, I think for me was a couple of opportunities to work for smaller agencies and compete against the bigger ones. And what I noticed was there just wasn't a ton of innovation happening within the space. And frankly, at the smaller ones, I was able to compete against the bigger ones very easily by just being a lot more nimble and innovative and interesting to our clients. And so, also having worked with a bunch of startups on the client side, you see how much more nimble they are and disruptive to that marketplace. So one of the things I've been looking to do most recently is just be a lot more disruptive to the agency model. But I also, at the end of the day, don't want to be one of these places that is out there saying the agency model is dead or the agency model is old. I just think there's room for both, for big agencies to service certain types of clients, but small, more nimble shops to service clients who want to be more innovative and disruptive.
Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon. I talked to a lot of independent agencies pre-pandemic when all the headlines were, oh, gloom and doom, it's the end of the ad industry as we know it. Yet a lot of these indies were thriving, and just because of what you said, they're more nimble, and they're not beholden to Wall Street in the same way.
Well, Tony, I'm sure you and I have heard plenty of times that the ad industry is dead or the ad industry is moving on. I just think what you see oftentimes is just evolution and where it's headed. And so, for me, I'm always just trying to be as much on the forefront of that as possible. And try new different things and new innovative ways to work with clients. I think some of my old bosses wrote a book a long time ago that talked about finding new and innovative ways to connect with customers, and that's just an ethos I've tried to kind of live up to since then.
Right. Now, say a few words about your current venture, because I pulled from your profile what I thought was a provocative quote. You're helping startups act like big companies and big companies act like startups. Could you talk a little about that?
Yeah, look, I think it sits within the kind of same ethos as the agency versus where we are now piece. I think a lot of companies, big or small, there's a couple of things. One, I think you're either a tech company or trying to figure out how to become one right now. It doesn't really matter whether you make sneakers, whether you're a bank. At the end of the day, you're trying to figure out how to build your tech platform. And I think, to your reference to the pandemic, I think that also exposed which companies had their digital act together and which companies didn't. And so, you also then sit there, if you're a big company, one of your biggest concerns is disruption, right? You're looking at, Procter and Gamble worried about Dollar Shave Club, but then on the other side, if you're a startup, what you really want is how can we swing and act with the big boys and compete against them and disrupt them? And so, I think there are interesting challenges that happen on both ends of that spectrum, and that's what we're trying to accomplish for our clients.
David, so what do you see on the horizon for marketing services in particular in the last few seconds that we have remaining?
Yeah, I think, one of the things that we're finding with our clients is there's this value exchange between customers and the marketing teams. And at the end of the day, most of us have limited resources as far as our attention and what we can do to pay, to engage with. And so for marketers, what we're really trying to do is give something with enough value that it's useful for the customers to then give you their most valuable resource, which is their attention and their action.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, David. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you too, Tony. Thanks a lot for having me.
And thank you for joining us again on this episode of AdTastic. To find out more about David Fausel, just go to dailyadbrief.com. See you next time.
Simplify presents Addressable CTV, combining the power of TV with the targeting and attribution of digital. Simplify's Addressable CTV delivers massive reach with the ability to scale without sacrificing precision. TV buyers can generate incremental reach with household-level targeting, frequency controls, reporting, and insights. To learn more about Simplify's Addressable CTV and what it can do for your clients, visit simply.fi.